I was 25 years old when I closed my first deal for over 20 million at $21.7 million. And I'm going to walk you through the entire story of what led us up to being able to do that, from having no connections in the industry to closing that massive transaction, not in the primary county of Washington State. It's in a secondary county. It was in Pierce County. So here's how we did it. It all started from me and Austin working together to try to build a new construction portfolio. We were learning how builders acquired land, what that process was, and we were trying to get more builders to want to work with us on a marketing capacity. We wanted more of them to use us to help them sell their houses. So we thought it would be advantageous for us to learn the process that they went through to get the land ready and the development side of that process. And in so doing, we realized that most builders like to give the listings of the houses that they build to the agents that bring them the land. So then we created a new focus. We thought, let's go focus on the land so that we can go get lots of listings from these builders that we're trying to work with. And so we had a newfound focus on how do we find land that is permit ready to build houses. And honestly, that's really, really hard to do in Washington State because there's not a lot of it around, and most of the really large national builders already have a state claim on all of the large transactions that are about to happen. So we were working on a few. At one point, I think we had around 80 single family home units and developments going on at one time that we were potentially going to work on. Not all of them came to fruition, but that was about the size that we built it to. And what happened is I ended up moving in with Kayla, my now wife and mother of soon-to-be two, and we lived in Edgewood. We lived in a new construction home. It was a Connor home. And what I realized when I was walking around the community is that they had a phase 2 that was going to happen. So how neighborhoods are sometimes built out when they're really large is they have different phases to the plan of the development. And I lived in phase 1, and I saw just massive development work happening right up the hill from me. And I really wanted to delve into what it was, so I went to the tax record and I learned everything I could about it. And I realized it was called Westridge Phase 2. And from that point, this part was a little bit of happenstance, but me and the wife were walking the dog, and we happened across a guy named Charlie Connor. And he's actually the owner of the entire neighborhood that we were living in at the time. And he was the guy that actually owned all of that property because he was walking some of the newer houses to make sure that everything was going good on the plat. And I stopped him and I said, "Hey, Charlie." And he was like, "Hey, who are you?" basically. And I just asked him, "Hey, what's your plan with all of the lots up the hill?" And he said, "I'm really not sure yet. We might build them out. We might consider selling them to somebody else to build them. We're not sure what we're going to do." So that's all the information I needed. The second I heard we might sell them, I told Austin and we got to work to find a buyer. Now, we didn't have a listing agreement. We didn't have any paperwork. We didn't have anything. We just went and found a buyer. So what we did is we went to the county, we went to the city, we got all of the records, we got all of the lot dimensions, we got all of the specifics, we got every single thing that we could, and then we packaged it up. We made it a beautiful package that we sent to multiple builders and distributed it across tons of builders across the entire marketplace. And we actually ended up having a couple conversations. We ended up getting reached out to by the broker of Charlie Connor saying, "Hey, what are you doing? Why are you shopping our land?" And we just told them, because we're trying to find a buyer. And apparently somebody else had tried to bring a buyer about a year before and failed. Long story short, Austin and I did end up sending it over to Richmond America, and they had an interest. And we simply wrote up a consulting agreement with Richmond America, and that if the deal closed, we would be compensated in percentages. And from that, we really just sat there and made sure that Richmond America had everything they needed to make a properly informed decision. So we gave them proposed sale prices of all their homes, which is there was 138 of them. We created floor plans that would be advantageous per spot, price points for those floor plans, sizes, SKUs for everything, and we sent that to them and we gave them all the information they needed. And through the course of about 10 months, we went back and forth with Richmond American and with Connor Homes, and ultimately we started at 22.5 million and we landed on 21.7 million when we ended up closing. One of the cool side note, one of the fun advantages of that was I was able to get a couple of my buyers in on the perfect best homes before the neighborhood actually was released. So because we just knew the entire development so well at that point, because we knew what they were placing, where they were placing it, and how they were releasing it, because we helped them develop that out. And so what Austin and I effectively did is we were able to go into a situation where we were never hired and find a buyer for something that wasn't for sale, write up an offer or a letter of intent in this case for, again, a property that wasn't for sale, and then get the ownership of a big national company to sign a consulting agreement with us on a property that wasn't for sale. We even got to meet the CEO of that company. They flew down. We walked them through the plat and everything to make sure it was a good fit. But that's the really short version of the longer story. And the big takeaway is this: never be afraid to shoot for price points you think are a little bit out of your wheelhouse. If you've never sold something over $1 million, just do it. It's the same as a $500,000 house. If you've never sold anything over $2-3 million, it's the same thing. The marketing and the places that you distribute the media that you've created for the property might be different, might be slightly more elevated, but effectively the process is the same. Now, if you're getting into development work, or you're looking to do land sales or get new construction, site sales, long plats, short plats, and things like that, it's a slightly different game. It's a little bit more nuanced and specific. And if you have any questions about that, leave comments below. If you have any questions on how to do no development, how to do new construction site sales, because that's also super specific, let me know in the comment section below. I'm happy to make new videos about whatever you guys are looking to learn. But anyways, that's the story of how I closed a $21.7 million deal in my mid-20s with no connections in the industry. I would appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe. Click the notification bell if you want to watch future videos of my training content and my real estate tips. I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks.